Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Calla Hamlin, and I am this semester's SOBA Business Team Lead.
And Wagner, this semester's Software Development Team Lead. So far tonight, you've heard many impressive presentations about various high-tech topics like spectroscopy, virtual reality, and even carpentry.
This next topic is just as complicated. Facial recognition software. It's really cutting-edge stuff.
It might seem a little bit creepy at first, or maybe even a little bit too much like 1984.
Idea of how our team tackled this complicated question, what we did, I would invite you to imagine a team of interns struggling to precariously navigate their way through a highly technological minefield filled with scary buzzwords like machine learning and blockchain. As Crystal would say, big yikes.
I learned many other things other than the joy of working with facial recognition software, including, for example, what it's like to have 10 children.
Learned practical life skills, like picking up the kids to go to their 7 a.m. bi-weekly practice. Honestly, I feel like a suburban mom at this point. Just give me a minivan and a set of pom-poms, and I'm set to cheer on my kids from the stands.
Largest teams in I-CCEW history. Between my 6 interns and Calla's 4, we can reenact such classic films as Cheaper by the Dozen, 12 Angry Men,
And wait for it,
Cheaper by the Dozen 2.
we've also learned that it's really, really easy for a team filled with highly intelligent students to struggle with operating Skype. Just want to apologize to John for that one.
Joking aside, I cannot put to words how proud I am of our interns and what they've done this semester, and I'm very excited for all of you to get to see the incredible presentation they put together.
I was going to roast them on stage, but I think that this semester has been spicy enough. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome the SOBA team to the stage.
My name is Richard Yang. I'm a senior in computer science from Stillwater, Oklahoma.
I'm Crystal Gillette. I am a junior in international and area studies from Tucson, Arizona.
I'm Austin Coffey. I'm a senior studying economics and letters from Austin, Texas.
And I'm Anthony, a senior MIS major from Lagos, Nigeria.
Companies making great use of data and analytics are 2 times more likely to be in the top quartile. comprehensive, and most importantly, private data set. This is important because a 10% increase in the quality of data leads to a 16% return on equity. 90% of managers talk about better information leading to better decisions and a better customer experience on the front end. But let's talk about how Who's on My Wi-Fi can provide these performance-boosting insights broken down into three major capabilities. It starts with demographic information and targeting customers. One chief marketing officer we talked to talked about turning a 60% male client base into a guys' night into immediate return on investment. When you can track demographics with our product, you can generate value for your business immediately. Our second capability is retention rate. Retention rate is so very important because it's linked very strongly to profit. When you raise retention rate by nearly 5%, profits go anywhere from 5 to 95%. A wide range, I know, but when you can account for retention rate, you can account for profit. And then we have our most innovative capability. This is emotional metrics. It's not provided by any channel of source of data that is on the market right now. It rates customers from happy and sad to 5 bases in between, and it is crucial in experiential industries such as the restaurant industry. A great waitress providing a great customer experience draws out an extra tip, an extra appetizer, an extra drink, generating more revenue. When you can track customer experience with our product, you can generate more revenue and increase the success of your business. Now, I'll pass it off to Richard to show you exactly how this product presents information intuitively and intentionally.
The development team has been working on a fully integrated web application that is at the forefront of facial recognition analytics. Our application tracks analytics on demographics such as age, gender, and returning customers. We also track emotion metrics, which can be a powerful indicator for customer satisfaction. Finally, when we designed our application, we designed it to seamlessly integrate into WhoFi's current software suite by matching their design and functionality. Now that I've told you a little bit about the application, let's dive into the demo. So currently, in our database, we have images of 4 of our development interns. For this demonstration, we're going to upload an image of the entire fall 2018 I-CCEW intern class. There we go. Okay. So we're going to upload an image. And this is one image that has the entire intern class in it. When we upload an image to our application, it sends it to Amazon's Recognition API in the cloud computing server. Amazon receives our images, processes them, and then returns demographics data that we can use. Our application takes this demographics data, does a little bit more analytics, and then stores it in the database. All this work is done in the back end and was created by the back end team. Our front end worked on this beautiful website and communicates with the database to populate our graphs. So now that our upload is completed, let's go back to the age page. And now we can see that the bar from ages 18 to 29 has raised significantly. This is a correct indicator of our intern class in both in number and in age. Now let's move on to returning customers. As I mentioned earlier, we had uploaded 4 images of our dev team, and that's correctly reflected by the returning customers on this site. Finally, we're going to move into my favorite page, which is the emotion metrics. Based on our advanced analytics, I think it's safe to say that 100% of the I-CCEW interns are very happy with the program. Now that you've seen a lot of the insights that facial recognition can provide, I'll hand it off to Crystal to talk about the market.
Thanks, Richard. WhoFi will be addressing a $440 million annual market across the United States. We got to this market by first focusing on industries that will be, that's important to have. Pull in a Black & Decker. All right. All right. So we got to this $440 million market by first focusing on industries that are focused on customer emotional experiences, such as hotels, casinos, restaurants, retailers, etc., because those are the ones most likely to purchase our emotional and demographic insights. From there, we began to focus on restaurants and retailers because they had the most economically viable profit margins. Now, there are about 4.5 million restaurants and retailers across the United States. According to Robert Everett's technology adoption curve, 2.5% of people and industries are willing to adopt a new technology. So 2.5% of that 4.5 million is about 115,000. And if you multiply that by the average price that industry said they were willing to pay across several interviews, which is $330, you get to a 440 million annual market. Now, there are a few characteristics that these 2.5% or first adopters have in common. First, they are very heavily invested in technology. In an interview that we had with On the Border, they said that they were constantly trying to keep ahead of the technological curve and constantly trying to find different ways to use technology to improve the customer experience. Because of this, they were willing to spend up to $1,000 per month on the insights that WhoFi could provide. Next, they will also be very invested in how the customer's emotional experience impacts their bottom line. For example, in an interview that we had with Charleston's, they said that what customers' emotions when first walking through the door very much impacted how the rest of the night would go. If a customer walked through the door and was greeted with bad service, that would clearly reflect in their tip and ultimately the restaurant's profits. The same goes for retailers. In fact, Staples said that customer satisfaction was a huge tipping point for them, and because of that, they would be willing to have bi-weekly or even weekly meetings to discuss the emotional insights that WhoFi would be able to provide. Of course, with the market as massive as $440 million, there are bound to be competitors. WhoFi will be facing 3 different industries: analytics firms, credit card companies, and marketing firms. The analytics firms, Axis Communications is a huge contender in this area. However, it does not provide emotional metrics or anonymous tokenization, which is something that consumers said was incredibly important to them, because without that, your face is very much up for grabs. And you don't have that privacy or protection that WhoFi can provide. Next, we have credit card companies. Sebastian mentioned earlier that they provide an incomplete data set, and WhoFi can provide a lot more specific insights. And the same goes for marketing firms. They can provide a very broad outreach, however, they can't provide the specific insights that WhoFi will be able to. As you can see, WhoFi clearly outperforms its competitors. And now, since I've spoken about this massive market and our competitors, I'm going to be handing it off to Austin, who will be speaking about our business model.
Thank you, Crystal. So let me tell you how easily, effectively, and profitably WhoFi will be able to serve the business or the market that Crystal just outlined. So WhoFi's business model will work as follows. A customer will walk into a store and a picture will be taken of them. We'd project 10 to 100,000 images taken per month per location, depending on the size of the store, the frequency of visits, and the frequency with which cameras take pictures. These pictures will be sent to Amazon through the recognition system that Richard outlined, where it will be anonymized. That data will then be amalgamated by WhoFi, and the data, analytics, and insights will all be provided back to the original company, which can use them to make better decisions. Now, one of the things that's most exciting about the shift from Wi-Fi analytics to FRS analytics is that the increase in cost of providing the service is relatively small. But the increase in the increase in value to these businesses is quite substantial. So we'll be able to charge $300 or $400 to these companies per month, depending on the package they buy, which will result in an 80% or an 85% gross profit. Now, we're going to recommend WhoFi begin by targeting small to medium-sized restaurants and small to medium-sized retailers. While these two market segments have slightly different needs, both in terms of the number of frames they'll require per month and in terms of the amount of value they place on emotional metrics as opposed to demographics, they can both be served really effectively by WhoFi's business model and this FRS platform, which is one of the things that's most exciting about it. We'll also recommend WhoFi hire a salesperson in the next several years to facilitate the education of the market, the acquisition of new customers, and upselling this product to existing customers. But now let me tell you how we validated both the need for this product and the viability of this business model with our prototyping engagement with Mathis Brothers over the past month. So several weeks ago, we headed up to Mathis Brothers with 2 cameras. Their flagship furniture store in OKC was our target. We placed one at the entrance and one behind the register. And although we lost some of the footage because of the camera quality, we were able to provide Rich Midden, who's the director of their entire IT department, with the following set of graphs. And we learned 4 crucial things. Firstly, while Rich was very interested in the demographic information that we could provide in this way, he would have preferred, and he suspected that other companies like Mathis Brothers would have preferred, simply the raw data. They have their own business analytics programs that would operate on that data, which they would then use to make decisions. This is really important because knowing this means that we can incorporate that into our system and serve an even wider variety of customers. Secondly, we learned that while Rich was impressed with the demographic information provided, he placed more emphasis on the emotional metrics that Richard outlined earlier. This is also significant because it ties into our third insight, which is that he would see using these information, these data, to facilitate in-store management. The example he used was that if a set of customers were continuously frustrated around a particular employee, that probably indicated there was something wrong with that employee's performance, and they could take steps to rectify the situation. This will inform both whom we target and how we go about targeting them in the future. Lastly, we learned that even if the technology were capable of being installed wholly online and digitally, as is the case, Mathis Brothers and other companies like them would prefer someone make the sale in person for that initial endeavor so that they can answer any initial questions and ensure that it begins to run smoothly. But let me hand it over to Tony to talk about how WhoFi can generate millions of dollars over the next several years by serving companies just like Mathis Brothers.
Thank you, Austin. With a massive market and a validated business model, it is important that we develop prices that customers are willing to pay. And in order to do this, we have divided WhoFi's products into two packages, the core package and the deluxe package. The core package allows clients to collect better demographic information about their customers, as well as track returning customers. The deluxe package allows clients to conduct emotional metrics, and the prices for these packages are $300 for the core package, $400 for the deluxe package for a restaurant, and $800 for the deluxe package for a retail store. And how did we arrive at these numbers? We set one bundle to be 60,000 frames per month. And we also anticipated that a restaurant would need about 18,000 frames per month, while a retail store would need about 100,000 frames per month. And lastly, we also have the overage price, which is $2 per 100 frames over the frame limits for any package. After determining the prices the customer will pay, it is also as important for us to develop a strategic plan that will allow WhoFi to get their product into the market effectively. And in order to do this, here is a three-phased plan for WhoFi. In the first phase, which is the preparation phase, we recommend that WhoFi develops logistics and best practices. We also recommend that WhoFi starts to sell to their existing clients. And in the second phase, which is the educational phase, we recommend that WhoFi educates and engages the market using video marketing as well as interactive tools. In the third and final phase, which is the growth phase, we recommend that WhoFi hires a new salesperson who would come in and increase sales from 3 to 5 sales per month. After implementing this three-phased plan, the results are promising. And here is a 5-year revenue and profit projection to show that. Within 5 years of just entering this industry, WhoFi can expect to earn up to $3 million in revenue. And in order to achieve this number, WhoFi needs to maintain 3 sales per month, starting from year 1, and then in year 3, hire a new salesperson who would come in and increase sales from 3 to 5 sales per month. And lastly, WhoFi would need to maintain a net profit margin of 16%. Thank you all for listening. We've definitely learned a lot, and we've had so much fun doing this project. And we're very excited to pass on our insightful recommendations to our inventor, John Kerber, and we're opening the floor to Q&A. Thank you.
Employees would have to be entered into the database anyways and tracked because we don't want to send extra frames of just employees back to the database. That would be an extra cost. So I believe that this would definitely be possible to track how the employees are doing individually since they're already stored in our database.
So the reason we chose Amazon's recognition is because when you send the photo to Amazon, they do not save it. They turn the face into a token, so they take different points on your faces and encrypt it into a string, basically, just a lot of characters. So there's no image that will ever be stored in either their server or our database.
And you believe that?
Yes. They do use our images to train their machine learning model. So Amazon's recognition is based on machine learning, where they need image samples to make their model more accurate. So in a way, we're helping them out, but they don't store these images after they use it for the learning.
Like what Facebook has done to us, you're going to love it.
So, given the competitive nature of this space, did you think about any more aggressive approaches to growth over the first few years?
I'm sorry, would you repeat the question at the very end?
Yeah, so given the nature of the space, it seems like it's kind of important to go get market share early, particularly with this being relatively new technology. Did you guys spend any time thinking about being more aggressive with growth in those early years? As a result of that?
Right. So this is a disruptive technology, and the early adopter benefit would definitely be very high with this product. We felt that it's necessary to refine the product for at least 1 year, because we've only had minimal prototyping experience with it, and in that time we sell to returning customers. So we are selling the product, we are putting our name out there. We just don't embark on growth and branding projects until later in the process. One more question?
Is this something that the customers would know about when they walk into the store? Specifically, when you guys were filming at Mathis Brothers, did you do any interviews with the customers to figure out how they felt about this data being used in that way?
So we did not do any interviews with the customers at Mathis Brothers. I believe that the same kind of access to information that customers currently have about how companies use their data and how security footage works would apply for the future. So you can Google any company and get the basics of their privacy available online. And in the transition from from Wi-Fi to FRS, it's largely an unregulated industry, getting back a little bit to what you were talking about, Dr. Holmes. From an ethical perspective, what we've heard from a lot of consumers and what we've seen in the past with new technologies is that there's often initial reluctance, but if that's coupled with a material benefit, like having a better shopping experience or a particular coupon package mailed to you, that makes up for the somewhat intrusive nature of the FRS technology. And that's been confirmed in surveys we've done, but it wasn't particularly with Mathis Brothers customers.